Now to a Fox 11 News exclusive. Tonight, a first look at new bipartisan legislation aimed at tackling the growing wildfire threat in California. It's called the Brushfires Act, targeting fast-moving, high-risk fires that ignite in shrublands, not forests, pose a major threat to homes and first responders. Two members of Congress from Orange County are behind the proposal, Democrat Dave Min from Costa Mesa and Republican Young Kim from Anaheim Hills. And both of them join me live right now from Washington. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being on together.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Alex. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us, Alex.
Congressman Min, let's start with you. What is this legislation?
Yeah, sure. So as you pointed out, the Brushfires Act directs the U.S. Forest Service to study the effectiveness of its methods in preventing wildfires in shrubland or brushfire-prone areas like Southern California. And of course, we have particularized unique risks that we saw, unfortunately, just lead to devastating wildfire in Los Angeles. Our areas in Orange County are also prone to these same risks. We've had a number of wildfires in recent years, including the airport fire, we had the Canyon fire, the Emerald Bay fire, and a whole bunch of others. And it's the combination of drier foliage and ever-increasing speeds of these Santa Ana winds each year, which reached 100 miles an hour this past year in Los Angeles. Climate change is obviously exacerbating a lot of this, and a lot of times what I learned as chair of the Natural Resources and Water Committee over the last 4 years in the state Senate in California is that forest fire prevention is often geared toward traditional forest fires and not towards the types of particularized unique risks that we face in Southern California. So we're really just trying to figure out, are we doing this right and what can we do better?
And Congresswoman Kim, why is this so important to you? And when we hear about shrublands, like what kind of areas are we talking about?
Thank you, Alex. As you know, I represent a district which is very, very wildfire prone, and we face the wrath of airport fire that just spread over 24,000 acres, and that started in Tropical Canyon in my district. So this is, this is really important where we get it right. Learning about the effectiveness of getting it right, and then also learning from past experiences of putting out the fire really will help us to prevent future fires, which is why this Brushfire Act is very, very important, so we can build resiliency and better understand shrublands so we can halt these wildfires. That's why the name Wildfire Act is so important. So we hope this legislation will help us understand all of those things, and then as well as information sharing between all levels of federal, state, and local first responders.
So this is the first time you guys have announced...
If I can just add on to that,
sure.
What we saw last year, what our local firefighters described, was it was basically like a blowtorch. You had 100-mile-an-hour winds, extremely dry conditions, even a spark at that point causes massive types of wildfire throughout these different shrubs and chaparral that we see in Southern California. So super important. It's one of the reasons why in the state Senate I found funding to fund a hand crew station and the hand crew personnel in the Canyon area that Young Kim and I share together. This is a top priority for Southern Californians.
Congressman Min, this is the first time you guys have announced this publicly anywhere. We appreciate you doing it with us. We also will point out the fact you don't see a lot of members coming on together from both parties, so that's an interesting thing. But are there the votes to pass this? Obviously, you guys are behind this, but for other members in the rest of the country that may not be in as wildfire-prone areas, do they care, or are they supportive of this?
Alex, wildfires don't discriminate, right? They will get and hurt anyone and any places where it gets in the way, which is why it is so important that we work in a bipartisan way. And I'm really pleased to work with Rep. Min on this particular legislation so that we can keep Orange County safe from wildfires. And I have the most bipartisan and effective record of being a federal legislator from all of California delegation. So utilizing that bipartisanship, working closely with Rep. Min, we are very positive that we can get the bipartisan support and get this through the finish line.
And Alex, just to follow on, I'm confident we'll have the votes from my side of the aisle. My hope is that with Rep. Kim here working together, we can get enough Republican votes to get this through. I have been working her side of the aisle, talking to a lot of her fellow Republicans.
Likewise, I work his side of the aisle and getting it done.
We found some interest from some Republicans here, so our belief is we will get 100% or close to 100% of Democrats, and hopefully this will be a bipartisan sweeping vote that we'll get.
Meanwhile, there's another vote that's coming, which may not be as bipartisan, which is the budget bill. And Congressmember Kim, we've talked to you about this several times, and you said there were two things that were your big things that you wanted. You wanted to see Medicaid protected, and you wanted to see an expansion of the SALT tax credit for people in California who pay high local taxes and were able to deduct it before the Trump tax cuts of 2017 were actually a tax increase for a lot of people in Southern California. Where are we at in terms of SALT right now? And are you comfortable with where we're at in terms of giving them your vote?
We're getting very close to getting a deal, a deal on this thing. Look, we want to get this done, and I want to get to a place where we can vote on this week, as the leadership is attempting to do. If not doing it, we'll see every American seeing the tax hikes. But at the same time, as you already correctly pointed out, I've been a big champion advocating for the increase of the SALT cap so that we can bring some relief to hardworking middle-class constituents and Californians who are adversely affected from the first 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And so I ran on the promise to get this done, and we're getting very close to do it. I'm very, very positive we're going to get this done.
If you don't, if President Trump doesn't sign off on the SALT change, would you stop the bill?
We're getting there. We'll get it done.
All right. And for you, Congressman Min, obviously I don't think you're voting for this bill, but if for some reason Republicans don't get it done, would you be open to some sort of bipartisan bill with Democrats maybe bailing out the Republicans in exchange for a deal on SALT or other California-specific issues?
It would be great to have a seat at the table, Alex, and to have a true bipartisan discussion about the budget. Obviously, that's not happening, so we're going to wait to see the bill. What we know is that from the different markups, we have a sense of what's going on. We know this bill is primarily designed to give $7 trillion in tax cuts to the wealthiest people in the world. And I say wealthiest people because about $500 billion, as far as we know, will go to foreign investors. Meanwhile, we are cutting programs like Head Start. We're cutting Meals on Wheels. We're taking from the poorest and most vulnerable. We're cutting education funding. So this is taking from the backs of working Americans, all to give the wealthiest a tax cut. We're basically giving Saudi billionaires a tax cut on the backs of working Americans.
Alex, I need to
think
push
this is
back
just
a little bit. This
totally
is
immoral.
This is supposed to be a bipartisan place where we're talking about
we agree on a lot of things. We agree on SALT and wildfire. On the budget, obviously, we have disagreements. We're working on a budget
deal that would protect the most vulnerable population and the constituents.
But that is not what we've seen from the markups so far. The markups also prevent AI regulation for 10 years.
We were going to. Yeah, the intention of this is to
on the bipartisanship and the spirit of bipartisanship and working on this Brushfire Act.
We'll wait to see the final markup.
I think this is going to be great to continue to work in a bipartisan way. But I can guarantee you, even the president stated publicly over and over, and our leadership and the Republicans are committed to protecting the most vulnerable population, women, the children, the seniors.
Sure.
We're protecting Medicaid.
Alex, what I will just close with is
we are actually, if you see
we
the
will
final
find
bill,
places to
we're
be
going to be
bipartisan,
actually spending
and we'll
more
always,
to protect the Medicaid
I will always look to be
program.
bipartisan in areas where we agree. There are obviously going to be areas we disagree, and we'll wait to see the final budget.
The more we see people saying, no, it's not going to happen, the saltier I get, Alex. And we're going to get this done.
All right. Well, it's starting to get salty. And yes, the point of this was to show that people can come together and at least come together on some issues, which we appreciate. And obviously, wildfires is a huge issue for our entire region, as we've learned this week. It's great to see you together.
Is one area we agree on, and we want to protect Orange County from further devastation
and we appreciate,
that the wildfires create.
you guys breaking the news here.
And I was glad Young was able to join on this bill. Thank you, Alex, for having us on today.
Thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. Good to see both of you.